Bill O'Reilly weighed in on the true state of the election between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Bill, seriously, before we get to the book, thoughts on the debate last night? Is it over? Is it done?
Well, I would never say that. I mean, but I believe that Donald Trump had to really knock it out of the park last night, and he didn't do it because he got sidetracked on this rigged election thing, and that, the press doesn't like him. That's a fact. So they'll seize on that. He's not respecting the process. When I saw Trump do that, I went, that's not good for Trump. See, I don't care what he thinks. Doesn't matter to me. I don't think the election's rigged. But, to answer a question that way, who's he going to win over? He had to win people over last night. Who are you going to win over with that? And that had to be his calculation. You just can't play to your base because your base isn't big enough to win. So that's the mistake he made, and I don't know if he can recover from that.
I don't know if you caught it at the end there. He said, quote, I don't know if he can recover from that. Bill O'Reilly and Donald Trump are friends. And even with them being friends, because he's going to get shit for this. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's over per se. But, hey, you're talking about rigged election, and you're not expanding your voting base when you're talking about that, who you're winning over, and look, I just don't know if he can recover from that. All right, it's over, fine, I said it. Okay, no, I didn't say it. To be fair to Bill O'Reilly, it's not like he's holding back trying to say it's over. I think that his position is actually the same as mine, which is, it's not over, it's just really close to over. So, Trump is on the ropes. He's got a black eye. He's bleeding from his lip. He's in trouble. As of right now, what are we? 20 days away from the election, thereabouts? And he's down 5.5 points on average, according to the Real Clear Politics numbers, where they take all the credible polls and they do the breakdown for you. And he lost a lot of ground. After the tapes were released, he lost a lot of ground in swing states. Now, when you go to Nate Silver, who I've had issues with because, I don't know, his predictions are always stronger and more certain than mine, and I felt like he wasn't able to accurately quantify how they're running their campaigns. So it's hard to get an accurate picture painted when you don't take that into consideration. And he can. It's not his fault. It's hard to quantify something like that. But anyway, so I've had issues with him. As of right now, he's got an over 85% that Hillary Clinton wins the election. Now, you might scoff at that, but he had Barack Obama at over 85% in 2012, and he was dead right. There were times when he got 49 out of 50 states right. In fact, I think there was one time he got 50 out of 50 right. So Trump's in dire straits. And even with the WikiLeaks stuff coming out, like you would think, oh, this is going to really hurt Hillary Clinton. No, what's hurt Trump more is the tapes because it's about his dick. It's about sex and sexual assault. And that's something that pierces through to the minds of and the imagination of the American people. Where that lands. It's a lot harder to make Syria policy land for people. When you say, hey, Hillary said her preferred policy, kill civilians back in 2013. So what? Do you want to kill Syrian civilians today, Hillary? What's going on here? Hey, you mocked the liberal base and basically called them communists. So what's going on with that? Your campaign is kind of against its own base. That stuff's not landing because everybody's talking about how Trump might be a serial sexual assaulter. And I'm not saying the serial sexual assault story isn't a real story. Of course it's a real story. But there's just now, it's almost swept under the rug, the other stuff in WikiLeaks. So I believe if Donald Trump, from the beginning of the campaign, the general election, I should say, if he kept hammering away on NAFTA and trade and money in politics, and he only focused on those issues, I think he would have won. Now, there's also one other kind of fatal flaw in Trumpism, and that is when he was on stage with 6, 7 other goofy-ass Republicans who were boring as fuck, he was able to be really quippy, really witty, really to the point, and he would speak in short bursts where he was just the most entertaining on stage, and he could kind of just sweep his opponents aside and crush them. Little Marco. Little Marco over here. You didn't keep us safe. Your brother didn't keep us safe, Jeb. 9/11 happened on his watch. Like, he would just say boom. He would just go in there, knock people the fuck out, and then get out and shut the fuck up. And it worked. And it also worked because the people on stage at the Republican primary are not that bright. They're all fucking political. Hey, I have talking points, and I'm going to give them to you and bore you to death as I say things that land with nobody. So in retrospect, you go, how could he lose? People were saying, how could he win? No, looking back, you go, how could he lose? What, fucking smarmy-ass Ted Cruz is going to take him down? A guy who's deeply unlikable, way more unlikable than Trump in terms of how he presents himself? At least Trump's got the fake straight shooter thing going on. Ted Cruz just a smarmy bitch, me. Marco Rubio, again, most studied politician ever with the fucking cottonmouth 24/7. And, I want to represent my donors. I mean, what? Did I say that out loud? Jeb Bush? Dorky-ass Jeb Bush? I'm really angry at you, Donald, for saying what you said about me. People are going to vote for him? No. So, but the primary was set up perfectly for Donald Trump. In a general election, in the debates, what do you have to do? You got to talk at length, bitch. You can't get away with your soundbite shit. You can't get away with your little Marco, tremendous, believe me. Believe me. Let me just tell you. I just have to tell you. Long form, you got to fill up 50% of the airtime. And what happens when he does that? He starts to incoherently babble because he doesn't know shit. So that hurt him. And Hillary Clinton, who as studied and fake-looking as she is, she does know enough shit to sound like she knows what the fuck she's talking about. I mean, she was Secretary of State. She can tell you different things. She can tell you things about policy. To this day, I don't think Trump knows what a marginal tax rate is. We've covered the story of him not knowing the difference between Hamas and Hezbollah, him not knowing the difference between the Kurds and the Quds Force. I mean, these are basic fucking things. You put that guy on stage, you can only wing it for so long if he's got to speak at length and come across as competent. So if he only focused on NAFTA trade and money in politics and crooked Hillary, and it was that, and he portrayed himself as the anti-establishment solution, he would have won. But instead, what did he do? He had the massive anti-establishment thing in his favor, but he went out there and he was just too confused. He was a mix of talking points. He didn't know if he wanted to be super conservative on some issues or try to be liberal on other issues, and he did too many personal attacks and character attacks, and it just didn't land. So I think Bill O'Reilly is largely right in what he said here. I don't think the election's over, but it's close to over, and he had a real opportunity to win if he really continued to portray himself as the outsider taking down the establishment as opposed to a paranoid conspiracy theorist, which is kind of what he sounds like now.